On Thai PBS World Tonight, Thais and foreigners witnessed the Grand Royal Barge Procession along the Chao Phraya River. The IKON Group victims have surpassed 9,000 victims, sustaining damages of over 2.9 billion baht. And Narathiwat Court announces dismissal of Tak Bai massacre case.
And good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nad Bunak and we'll begin the program tonight with the Royal Barge Procession which took place along the Chao Phraya River yesterday, and hundreds of Thais and foreigners were there to witness the Royal Barge Procession in person. And in case you missed it, these were the highlights of yesterday's event. Their Majesties, the King and Queen, presided over the Royal Barge Procession on Sunday afternoon, which glided along the Chao Phraya River for the annual Katin offering ceremony. The flotilla of barges carrying and escorting their Majesties started from Rama 8th Bridge and traveled 4 kilometers downstream to Wat Arun Rajwararam, also known as the Temple of Dawn. This is the second Royal Barge Procession during the King's reign and was organized to honor His Majesty the King Maha Vajiralongkorn's 72nd birthday on July 28th. Crowds of Thais and foreigners, mostly dressed in yellow, a color symbolic of His Majesty the King, gathered along the banks of the Chao Phraya River way before the procession began at 3 p.m. to secure a good spot from which to witness this special experience. Among the top locations to witness the Royal Barge Procession were under the Rama 8th Bridge, Santi Chai Prakan Park, and Somdet Prapin Klao Bridge. And you can see that this is definitely a significant moment to remember, and many people told reporters that they were very excited to witness the Royal Barge Procession through their own eyes, saying that this is a historical moment and also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for these people. So let's have a listen to what these people had to say.
ตั้งใจมาชมพระบารมีของราชวงศ์และพระมหากษัตริย์โดยเฉพาะและเผอิญว่าลูกชายเป็นฝีพายเรือดั้งสีด้วยค่ะเสียงตะโกนจากประชาชนที่บอกว่าสู้ๆทำให้ฝีพายทหารเรือสู้ยิ่งกันไปยิ่งกว่าประมาณนี้พี่ก็รู้สึกประทับใจเนาะในความจงรักภักดีของทหารของพระราชาเนาะ
ตื่นเต้นมากจนนอนไม่หลับเลยนะ แล้วก็กลัวว่าฝนจะตกแต่พอถึงเวลาจริงๆด้วยพระบารมีของท่านนะฝนไม่ตกเลยค่ะเดียวนะคะก็ภูมิใจในวัฒนธรรมเรานะคะแล้วก็ระหว่างดูก็ขนลุกไปเพราะว่าด้วยความอลังการเพราะเราไม่มีชาติไหนที่จะได้ร่วมดีใจที่ได้พูดกันนะคะที่
เด็กๆเขาก็ไม่ค่อยได้เห็นครับแล้วก็อยากจะสื่อสารให้ลูกรู้ด้วยว่าเรามีประเพณีดีๆแบบนี้ครับแล้วก็นานๆทีเราจะได้เห็นนะครับ
So you can see that there are many people along the riversides to witness the Royal Barge Procession, which is actually, like many people describe, is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And this procession actually shows a lot of historical and cultural significance, and it also reflects the Thai heritage that has been passed on for centuries. And like we said earlier, this is the second procession in the King's reign because the last procession took place in December 2019 in honor of the King's coronation. So this means that these processions often took place for auspicious occasions only. So this is definitely an experience for many people, and it is definitely different between watching the procession through live streams on national TV and online and getting to watch the procession in person along the Chao Phraya River. And many people told Thai PBS reporters that getting to watch the procession in person along the river actually gives them a different experience, so it is more impressive and the tradition is magnificent for many of these people. So getting to watch this, like look at that, this is something that people will definitely cherish for the rest of their lives. And we don't know when the next procession will actually take place because it is often used during auspicious occasions like these only. For this year, it's in honor for the king's birthday anniversary. So we'll have to wait for another few years' time in order to witness this procession once again. And now let's give you the latest updates on the IKON Group scandal, which have seen a continuing increase in victims filing complaints against the business. And so far, the DSI will be taking over the investigation because they have said that they have sufficient grounds to believe that there is money laundering involved in this case as well. So far, the Central Investigation Bureau, or the CIB, revealed that over 9,472 people have filed complaints against the embattled direct selling business, the IKON Group, sustaining combined losses of over 2.9 billion baht. And starting from today, the Department of Special Investigation, or the DSI, will take over in the investigation of the IKON Group. And this will now depend on the DSI whether more people involved in the alleged scam will be arrested or whether more charges will be filed against the 18 executives and core members of the company, including the CEO. The affected investors can still lodge complaints with the CIB against the e-commerce company, despite the fact that it has been transferred to the DSI for the investigation. And meanwhile, the Senate held a hearing on the IKON Group scandal to question the transfer of the case from the CIB to the DSI and whether the government has any measures to protect consumers from being duped by scammers through the use of online platforms. The Digital Economy and Society Minister, Prasetjantara Rongthong, who was assigned by the Prime Minister to respond to the Senate inquiry, told the senators that the IKON Group case is a special case and therefore it is appropriate that it should be handled by the DSI. He said that there are several state agencies monitoring and regulating online commercial advertisements, especially the use of false or exaggerated information to attract customers, such as the Office of Consumer Protection Board, the Food and Drug Administration, the NBTC, as well as the Consumer Protection Division Police. He also said that the Prime Minister's office has set up a panel to investigate some officials of the Office of Consumer Protection Board who were accused of refusing to investigate the IKON Group after several complaints were filed with the office against the company. Meanwhile, the DSI will be requested to change the status of 5 victims of the IKON Group to that of upline executives. The lawyer representing the company's founder and CEO is set to submit a letter to the DSI arguing that these individuals played a significant role in persuading others to invest in the company. The CEO's lawyer, known as Wittun, revealed after visiting the CEO in the Bangkok remand prison that he had updated him on the case, that it's now have been transferred to the DSI, and he expressed confidence that the DSI has the expertise to handle this type of case. They also discussed submitting a letter to the DSI to request changing the status of 5 individuals from victims to suspects, in which he revealed that these 5 individuals were working as upline executives, each with over 100 of downlines. They were involved in persuading people to invest and open bills to purchase products worth 250,000 baht without the knowledge of the 18 executives and the company. He even emphasized that this request is not meant to intimidate the witnesses, but is an exercise of legal rights. He also added that all of them will need to prove their innocence through the legal process, just like the 18 others. And regarding the other 2,000 victims, the legal team is preparing documents to proceed legally against those who claim to be victims but were actually upline executives. And the letter will be submitted to the DSI on October 29th, which is tomorrow. So this is definitely a high-profile case at the moment. But regarding the charges of the IKON Group and the 18 executives, so far the police have not pressed charges whether they have committed pyramid schemes or not. But so far they are accusing the IKON Group, especially the 18 executives, for public fraud and spreading false or exaggerated advertising, which actually goes against the Computer Crime Act. And they also allege that the IKON Group has breached the Direct Sales Act as well, because according to this particular law, you're not allowed to convince people to join the company and with promises that they will give you the benefits or the high returns and that kind of stuff. But we will see how the story develops from now in the hands of the DSI, whether the 18 executives and the CEO will be filed with more charges or not, and whether there will be any more suspects that will be revealed as well. And moving on to Thai politics, a recent opinion poll has shown that people do believe that the Paetongtarn government will actually survive until the end of its term in 2027. And this is a recent opinion poll that is conducted by NIDA Poll. And more than half of survey respondents believe that the government of Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra will survive until the end or close to the end of its term in 2027, according to NIDA Poll. And this particular poll was conducted last weekend by asking the opinions of 1,310 people of different educational and professional backgrounds about the factors that could prevent the government fulfilling its term. So the poll shows that about 41% of the respondents believe that the Paetongtarn government will survive until 2027, while 11.9% believe that the government will survive until close to the end of its term. 19% believe it will survive for the next 2 years, 16.8% believe it will survive for the next 12 months, and only 9.7% believe that it will only survive until the end of this year. But when asked what would be the main reasons why the Paetongtarn government will not be able to survive until the end of its term, 34% of the respondents believe that their failure to fulfill economic promises will contribute to the premature end of the government's term. Other respondents also believe that complaints against Thaksin Shinawatra, the de facto leader of the Pheu Thai party, and against the party itself will lead to the premature end of the government, while some believe that conflicts between coalition partners will result in a premature end to the administration. And regarding cases and accusations that the party and the ruling government is dominated by Thaksin Shinawatra or not. Previously, Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has defended herself about the recent meeting between her father and the core members of governing coalition parties, saying that it did not necessarily mean that the parties were being dominated or influenced by Thaksin Shinawatra. Paetongtarn also claimed that it is impossible for Thaksin to dominate political parties because each has its executive committee, which has the final say on issues that concern the party. And such accusations that Thaksin Shinawatra is influencing or dominating the Paetongtarn government, it came after the Election Commission accepted a petition demanding the dissolution of the Pheu Thai party and its 6 coalition partners for allowing themselves to be influenced or dominated by Thaksin over the appointment of his daughter as prime minister after the previous premier Sethar Thavisin was removed from office by the Constitutional Court for appointing a former convict to a ministerial post. But we gotta say that since Paetongtarn took office, she has been heavily scrutinized and criticized over her performance, especially with how she handled the questions from the reporters regarding the policies, especially with the economic policies and measures. It seems like she has been dealing with a lot of criticism from the reporters and the media, and as well as the opposition parties. And it looks like she has been heavily criticized for the way she deals with the economic issues, and people have questioned whether she can really lead the country, considering like all these problems. And recently, there has been this drama. If you might be able to remember that she has been caught reading speeches off her iPad during one of these summits abroad, and she was really upset that people were actually criticizing her for the fact that she reads the scripts from iPads, stating that other people do that as well. But regardless, being at the top means there will be those who like you and those who don't like you, but we still have to give her some time to show her abilities and performance, because it has only been 2 to 3 months since she took office. So we'll have to wait and see how she handles the government and the country as a whole, and how she will deal with all of these pressing issues, especially regarding the economy. And now let's talk about another significant incident in Thai history, which is the Tak Bai Massacre, in which the 20-year statute of limitations for justice expired last Friday, and with no suspects being arrested, nor did they turn up in court, means that the case has been dropped, meaning that those responsible for the 85 deaths will go unpunished. And today, the Narathiwat Provincial Court held the last hearing on the Tak Bai Massacre case today to announce the dismissal of the case due to the absence of defendants to stand trial last Friday, which marked the expiry of the statute of limitations. The court granted permission for the lawyer of the relatives of those who died to make a closing statement before putting an end to the case. Regardless, the lawyer told the media that the search for the truth about the tragedy still will have to continue, even though the judicial process has ended in failure. He also said that the relatives will propose that the state agencies stop paying pensions to the fugitives who are now in retirement. They will also propose that Prime Minister Paetongtarn orders an investigation into the conduct of Nongjik police who allegedly swept the case under the carpet for almost 19 years before finally submitting investigation files to the Office of Attorney General this year. The OAG filed charges against the 7 retired senior military and police officers and interior officials for their alleged involvement in the deaths of Tak Bai protesters, and many of these protesters died of suffocation after being stacked on top of each other on trucks on a 150-kilometer journey from Tak Bai police station to the Inkayut Army Barracks in Nongjik district of Pattani province on October 25, 2004. Security at and around the court in Narathiwat has been increased significantly because of this case and the final hearing. And previously, Prime Minister Paetongtarn expressed deep regret over the Tak Bai incident and pledged to do her utmost to prevent a recurrence. And she said that she hopes that everyone remains mindful of the violence that occurred in Tak Bai, and no one wants to see such an incident happen again. And she even reiterated that every party, including the government, should do their best to ensure that it doesn't happen again in the future. At the same time, there have been statements from human rights activists, including UN rights experts, who have released a joint statement expressing their deep concern that no one would be held accountable over the massacre in Thailand. And according to the statement, they said that families have waited nearly 2 decades for justice and called for further investigations into the fate of the 7 people who disappeared in the incident. And we also have to mention that among these 7 retired senior military and police officers and interior officials also included one of them who actually resigned from the ruling Pheu Thai party a few weeks ago, and the whereabouts of these 7 people are currently unknown. And even though the case has been officially dropped today, but the Tak Bai massacre will be an incident that will never be forgotten, especially families of the victims and those living in the southernmost provinces of Thailand. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates about Thailand as well as analyses. Thanks for watching. I will see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ